Here we go. Coming to you live off a Green Bay Packer win.
A huge win, not just any win.
Colbert, what's your prediction for Sunday?
Packers Super Bowl.
Okay, and Keck, what's your prediction?
Well, I was just saying before, I feel more comfortable playing San Francisco, even though we got killed by them earlier in the year, than playing Seattle. So I think they can do it. Packers to the Super Bowl.
3 diehard Green Bay Packer fans right here.
It might be talking with my heart, but
that's all we can ask of you, Keck, is
right?
Talk with your heart.
Right.
Well, Matt Koeck, thank you for joining us.
Hey, happy to be here.
What's that?
Happy to be here.
Yeah, it took a little convincing, I guess, more by Aaron Koeck.
Yeah.
To have you join us on here. Just you have some amazing qualities, and I really wanted to get you on here. I think you're being modest. You're being modest by not wanting to come on and share some things with the world.
Oh yeah, that's me, the king of modesty.
Well, one thing that we were talking about that I think is really interesting, and you brought it up too, is just the switch in life path that you had. Well, how many years ago now? 4 years ago. So yeah, give us a little history of that. You were working at a job that you'd been at for a long time and decided that you needed to change.
Yeah. So I was working for Quad Graphics, which is a printing company. I was there for 11 years. Started at the bottom, kind of worked my way up to, I was running a press, taking care of a crew. And I guess December of 2014, they handed out our schedule for the next, the next year. And I looked at it and I was like, wow, I don't have one weekend off with my family for 26 weeks or something like that. And I was like, I had Emmett and Porter. Porter was a year old. Emmett was almost 2. And I was working nights, and I just came home and told Aaron, I was like, I need to do something different. I think I'm going to go to nursing school. And she was on board 100% right from the get-go. So I put in my notice at Quad and applied back to UW Oshkosh, and now I'm one semester away from doing that, graduating.
Wow, that's awesome, Keck.
Yeah.
I knew kind of the cliff notes there, but I haven't heard that story before. And one semester away.
Yep. Almost.
Holy cow.
Yeah, that's back to the real world for me. Kind of been living the college life for a couple of years now as an adult. Spring breaks and Christmas breaks, summer breaks. So we're one semester away from going back to the grind, I guess. But it's a whole new grind, and I'm really excited about starting.
Is there if there's somebody else feeling like you, I mean, how was that transition? You made it sound like it was a quick decision. You're like, I got my schedule, came home, I said, that's it, I'm done.
I mean, it's something you think about for a while in the back of your head, but I mean, once you're able to say it out loud, like, this is what I'm going to do, and you make your mind up, I mean, the decision was pretty easy. But I do make it sound like it just was like a split-second decision, and there was no planning involved. But deep down there was a lot that went into it, I guess. But Erin was in a good place with her job. She got her master's degree and kind of we were in a good place. So it was a good time for us.
How
So
long would you say you were thinking about it before you actually pulled the plug?
I don't know. I guess when you until you work at a factory, you don't really know, like, every day you go to work like, man, what else could I be doing? I mean, not that you're unhappy day to day, but it's just kind of like, what's next? But I'd say seriously, like, I don't know, 6 months to a year, I was, contemplating doing something different. But I didn't know what, I didn't know what I wanted to do when I graduated high school. I went to college for a couple of years, did that kind of thing, and then, got a job and did that for a decade, and then it's time for something different.
Koeck, I'm so excited for you, man.
Yeah.
It, not only, because I couldn't tell you the last time I saw you.
Right.
I think it was like a Halloween or something, way before I moved.
Didn't you have an
But
interesting cab ride that night?
possibly. Very likely. Very likely. But I worked in factories. I distinctly remember, that the story that you just shared, almost identically for me, and looking down, it was a W-2 that I remember I got, not a schedule, but I remember saying, what am I doing? Like, this is not what I want to do, for the foreseeable future.
Right.
And, listening to you tell us about, it may have taken 6 months or so, who knows, give or take there. But it's like, I remember just saying to myself, what is it going to be? Like, what do I want to do? And I remember, schlepping back and forth to work and not necessarily being unhappy, but knowing that there was something different that ultimately was going to, tap me on the shoulder and say, this is it. And then exactly from there, it's like, it seems like it was a split second decision, or you just pulled something out of a hat, but it had been kind of beginning to show itself in some way, shape, or form over the previous, months.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you realize it, it's like, okay, let's do this. I'm in.
Right.
Has there been, so looking back, it's been 3.5 years now. Has there been anything that was challenging that maybe you didn't see coming, just over the last 3.5 years?
Well, I wouldn't change anything, but I guess the challenges are more, it's a challenge. It's a challenging program that I chose. It was competitive to get in. I was, 30 whatever years old and sitting in classrooms with 18, 19-year-old kids that are right out of high school. And I walked into my first class the first day. It was a chemistry class, and the guy's like, well, there's 130 of you in here, and the nursing program takes 96, so it's my job to weed you out, kind of. And I'm like, wow, I haven't done chemistry or math or anything like that for 15 years. But once I got in the swing of school, I just did it, grind. Challenging, kind of balancing studying for classes and, having the kids pounding on the door, or, making time for that. But, I don't know. It's just life, I guess. That's just what I do. The new norm.
Other than, the obvious, wife, kids, being a little older, what would you say is the biggest difference the second time around, I guess I would call it?
the social stuff.
Mhm.
You know, I wasn't there to make friends or go to parties and that kind of thing.
Mhm.
You know, I give those kids a lot of credit. I mean, there is no way I was responsible enough or mature enough to be able to do this program, especially when I was in their place. They always, you know, I mean, they always say, "Oh, it's got to be so hard with your kids and your wife and stuff." It's like, it's so hard being in Oshkosh as a 21-year-old kid and doing what you're supposed to. I mean, I definitely couldn't have done that.
Yeah, I hear you there.
Have you taken on any kind of mentor role? Do you feel like you have that relationship with any of your fellow students?
I wouldn't say mentor, but I don't know. I kind of feel like like the wise old owl, kind of like, you know what's out there. You
Right.
know, you gotta kind of bring them back, bring them down to reality once in a while. Like, oh no, I got a C on a test. It's like, yeah, big deal. Move on. You know, 77%, and you pass the class. I mean, this one exam or this one paper or this one whatever. I mean, look at it in the scheme of things. It really just doesn't matter. And there's, it's perfectionists. There's there's a lot of perfectionists, but you got to just, I mean, I tell people a lot, like, this is what you chose to do. This is what you want to do. You have a passion for it. And you're not going to be working in a factory. You're not going to be doing that. So
Yeah, better than a pointy stick in the eye.
right, exactly. Just push through.
Yeah. Anything's better than a pointy stick in the eye, I think.
Par, have you ever thought about going back to school?
Actual school, not really. Like reading school, that kind of school, yeah.
Have you ever thought about completely changing what it is that you do in your life?
I wouldn't say completely changing, more just building on it. I think what I want to do is definitely business. So I like being in the business world. I just, could see myself growing into, different business avenues.
Got it.
So however I can educate myself in that way to get where I want to go. But I'm definitely not looking to change completely right now. Just be better.
I don't think the formal education thing is for everyone, or if everyone needs it.
Mm-hmm.
I needed to do that to get where I wanted to go.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't think you need the formal classroom or even a degree to, better yourself or educate yourself.
Yeah. Yeah. If you're going to do something very specialized, like what you're doing.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Lawyer, stuff like that.
I mean, I do look at, since you said lawyer, I look at somebody, because we have some friends that are in that profession, and I think it's extremely impressive that they were, able to get all the way through that program and now have that knowledge and are doing that thing. And there's different, you could work in the public sector, you can work in the private sector. There's lots of different actual paths that you can do once you have that training, and I think that's really cool. So, I don't have any regrets, but sometimes I wonder, well, what would it be like if I had done that? But you just never know.
Right.
So,
Koeck, you talked a little bit about, the social aspect and the differences the second time around. What about just maybe from like a technology standpoint, overall, like structure? How was that transition, or how did that sit with you after you kind of realized, oh, this is different too?
The technology wasn't, crazy different. Some of the stuff is like partially online, but the platforms they have for it are really easy to use.
Mm-hmm.
There isn't overhead projectors or anything like that, like the last time I was there, but you just adapt. And I think that, our age people, we grew up with computers and that kind of thing. So it's not like it wouldn't be like a 50-year-old at this point.
Yeah.
Go back and do it with like no technology skills at all. There's some online classes and that kind of stuff. But it's pretty simple to figure out.
Nice.
So for any Oshkosh alum that may view this, have you been to the French Quarter lately?
I have not. I haven't been there at all. I've been to Nico's a few times in the daylight, though. It's kind of
Seeing if they have Wi-Fi.
Yeah, right?
Yeah. I remember last time I walked into Nico's, I was actually there during lunch too when I was visiting the Oshkosh Toppers, and I was concerned about them having Wi-Fi when I walked in because the place looks the same as it did 20 years ago.
Hasn't updated one bit, that's for sure. But it's still delicious.
But okay, that's a good transition point, because we want to get into cooking a little bit here, because this is a serious talent that Mr. Matt Koeck has. So I get the privilege to go camping with you and your family and a few other families every summer, and you cook some of the best food, and it's like food that everybody else may cook, like chicken or steak or whatever it is, but when you get a Matt Koeck steak, it just seems to taste a little bit better. And it's amazing. And you make it look so easy. There's campers, there's tents, there's 12 kids running around, everybody's drinking, having a good time, and calm, cool, and collected Matt Koeck just preparing the meal, but not missing a conversation with anybody, doing it all at the same time. So I want to get into this a little bit, because am I making sense here?
Yeah.
You just make it look so easy. So I guess start by, you have a serious passion for cooking.
Yeah, it's something that's always come easy to me. And when I was going through these, when I was saying before that it was going through my head of changing stuff, being a chef or professional chef and going to school for that went through my mind several times. The reason I decided not to do that, I guess, was because I thought I'd lose somewhat of my passion for it if it became my job. Having to do that stuff every day, having to, meal plan and prep and do all that stuff every day.
Mm-hmm.
I just thought it wouldn't be fun anymore. But I do have fun doing it. I really like grilling. I have I have 6 grills on my patio right now.
No way.
Yeah, I do.
6?
How
big is your patio?
we just had it redone last spring. and I took up a big portion of it. I actually put a couple away for the winter, but I have. So I really liked. So I bought a big green egg smoker, which is a ceramic, kind of the shape of a Weber grill. But I started cooking on there. I started smoking meats on there. Had that for, I don't know, 5 years or so, and then I ended up getting another one of those, but a much bigger one. And then people always tell you, oh, the food's so good, your barbecue is so good, this is so good. So I decided to enter a barbecue competition. Most of these, and I tried that. You pull into it was a campground, and you pull into there, and people have $500,000 trailers with all their barbecue stuff, and it's pretty intimidating, but I cooked with them. First time I got dead last in chicken. You cook pork ribs, pork butt, brisket, and chicken, all 4 meats. First time I got dead last in chicken. Went back the next year, tried again. I got 8th place in chicken out of whatever 60 teams or whatever. So improvement, good stuff. It's fun. I didn't do that last summer, but it's still fun. But day-to-day cooking stuff, that's kind of what you're more interested in, I guess. Damon was talking about meal prepping, or cooking healthy foods during a busy schedule, or during having a family and doing all that stuff. That's a challenge. I mean, it's a challenge for everyone. I have several tools that I use for that kind of stuff. Is that where you want me to kind of dive into there? Or?
Yeah, just the challenge of, it's so easy for people to, just go through a drive-through, or, pick something up quick from, something from like the ready to go area of a grocery store. Just feel like they don't have time to cook themselves a good meal or a healthy meal. And I know that, you said you have the tools, but you've simplified it definitely. And maybe there's just some things that might be good tips for other people out there to look into that can help simplify the process.
Sure. I think a really easy tool is the Instant Pot. I mean,
we just got one of those.
It doesn't get much more simple than that. You can take a frozen, beef roast, venison roast, whatever you got in your freezer, throw a cup of water and some seasoning in there, and have a roast done in an hour, from frozen. Wow. So you come home from work at 4 or 5, you can be feeding your family in less than an hour. It doesn't get much easier than that.
Yeah, it's so easy. It's shocking it took me as long as it did to get one. I got one probably like 3 or 4 months ago. It's incredible.
There's a lot of people that cook tons of stuff in there, full recipes and stuff. I really am a simpleton when it comes to that, I guess. I really just cook roasts in there. But I guess my personal thing is, my wife Erin, she is into fitness and being healthy. So she has her macronutrients, like what she eats every day to fuel her body, down to kind of this much protein, this much fat, this much carbs. So when she started doing that, as I cook most of the meals, that was kind of a challenge, trying to cook to a set of nutrients or macros. But once you start doing it, that becomes simple too. She needs whatever 40 grams of fat a day or whatever. She needs this much. She eats a ton of protein. So trying to work those macros into a meal and try to make it healthy and easy is a challenge. But it's, like I said, once you start, you just got to make it a routine.
Yeah.
Are there apps that you use? I mean, are there places that how do you save it so it's efficient?
There's an app called Yumly. I don't know if you've ever heard of that one. So basically Yumly is an app, and they have like you can basically take a picture of your refrigerator and it'll try to come up with a recipe with what you have in there.
Wow.
It's kind of cool. Or, you can just say what protein you have or whatever, and then it'll, pick recipes for you to make from there. Tell you what you need from the store, kind of that kind of thing. They also have specific diet plans on there if you're keto or, that kind of thing. It's all kind of there. That app is pretty useful.
Downloading.
Yeah, it's a good one. Personally, I don't use a whole lot of that stuff just because stuff does come easy to me, and I don't know, I just kind of come up with it. It's like an artist, you watch somebody draw and you're like, oh my God, how do you do that? And then it's just like, I don't know, it just comes out of your pen or whatever.
It comes out of the spatula.
Yeah, right. That's kind of how it is for me. A little bit of this and a little bit of that. And it comes out good most of the time. Baking is very difficult for me, following directions, exact amount of ingredients. That's my challenge.
That's awesome. Wow. What's the favorite meal that you've eaten recently?
Favorite meal recently?
If you had to pick one.
Venison back straps, I also have the thing called an immersion circulator, which is sous vide cooking. It's you vacuum seal your meat, and then you put it, there's a stick basically, and you put it in a pot of boiling water, or not boiling water, but you put it in water, and this immersion circulator sucks in the water, spits it out at a precise temperature, and it cooks your meat to exactly where you want it. So you get a uniform, 133 degree piece of venison all the way through. So that I really enjoy that. It's fun.
Immersion circulator?
Yeah, immersion circulator.
Oh, immersion circulator. Okay.
Yeah. Sous vide. That's what it's called. I have a Joule, and it's really easy. That's an app too. They have pictures of what your meat would look like at certain temperatures, and then you just kind of hit the button, and it works by itself. It's Wi-Fi, Bluetooth. So I mean, it sounds kind of like a crazy science cooking, but that's actually a pretty easy thing to use too if you get into it. And you can meal prep with that too. I mean, you can put something in there for 30 hours if you wanted to. And it'll keep it at the same temperature that whole time.
Wow.
A lot of people do like chuck roasts or that kind of like big stuff for long periods of time, because the longer it's in there, the more tender it becomes. So you can get like pulled pork even.
Yeah, Colder, your face, I imagine it's like what my face was when Keck was first telling me about this. And I'm just, It's just something that you don't know what you don't know. Like,
yeah.
I didn't know that people were using things like this to cook meals. So
I'm over here with my Instapot thinking I'm a magician.
Right. It might be a challenge when I start working again full time. I might be back in a place where I'm struggling. Right now I have the luxury of time.
Yeah.
Even going to school full time, I'm done with school at 3 or 4. I still have time, but we'll see.
That will definitely be an interesting transition, but you have the gift of momentum right now. So
yeah, right. Keep it
here's
rolling.
to keep.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Well, I'm satisfied with this conversation.
Koeck, so awesome seeing you, man.
Yeah, you too.
Keep crushing it. One semester to go.
Yeah.
I'm excited for you.
Thanks a lot.
Yep. Well, you know what would be great is if like 10 of us showed up drunk to your graduation ceremony.
To my ceremony would be that'd be fun.
just for old time's sake.
Aaron and I are going to Hawaii right after I graduate, so it'll be fun. We're doing that in lieu of a party, so
Awesome. I love it.
yeah, should be fun.
Great.
Is that May-ish?
May,
April?
yeah. Yep, May.
Colbert, didn't like a bunch of your family and friends take a party bus from Evansville to Oshkosh for Marcus's graduation?
Party bus is a very aggressive term. We did travel together, but I don't know if I'd call it a party bus.
Cool.
Well, Koeck, I don't want you to be late for class.
Class today, winter break, last one.
Awesome.
All right, buddy. Thanks,
Okay.
Aaron.
Have a great day. I'll
Yeah.
talk to you both soon.
Yep. Take care. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Later.